It looks like they're about to go.
All right, looks like we're off. So again, as stated, we're basically going to start in pirate mode. It's a new game plus, so we'll have all of the pirate gear that includes the boots, the pistol, the hat, and the scimitar, which allows you to do pretty much everything that you would normally build up to in the normal runs. So right out of the gate, you're going to see how quick the movement is actually going to be. These runners both know the dialogue and will be skipping them, and I believe both are running on PC. So they have to be very careful about mashing that start button so they don't have any unexpected pauses in the game.
So one of the most common glitch that you'll see them do is something we call the risky shuffle. Basically, how the boots work in this game is you move in one direction for a certain amount of time. Shantae glows a light blue for a second, and then that allows you to be able to dash forward and do the very fast running that you see him doing. In order to get around the fact that we have to move in one direction for a long time, we do something called the risky shuffle, which is basically, if you're on controller, you move the analog stick in one direction and the D-pad in the other, which makes them go back and forth really quickly. And that causes the game to think that you are moving in one direction, and then you go fast.
Yep, that's pretty much it in a nutshell, which actually allows for very interesting sequence breaks later in the run. One thing I want to point out here is they're doing the charge through Scuttletown. Is you'll notice that they are purposely running into some of these soldiers. It's because of a little bit of RNG. They're just hoping to get a drop or two from these soldiers, which can help them later in the run. Didn't notice anyone getting anything specific.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I didn't. I think that the soldiers came up a little dry, and right into the first boss, it looks like RougeLink's definitely getting the more favorable ammo baron right now.
Yes, Amethyst is just being very unfortunate. That's like 4 rams in a row.
Yeah, the ammo baron has a couple of different things that he does. The charge wastes about 6 seconds, I believe, per charge. It's pretty punishing. And the other thing he does is shoot these cannonballs, and he has the ability to shoot either a black or a red one. And the red one is the one you're looking for, because that's the one that you could smack into the tank, knock ammo baron down, and be able to deal some damage to him. And it looked like Amethyst missed a couple in there, took one to the face, unfortunately. So that's going to cost a little bit more time. So this is giving RougeLink a pretty sizable lead out of the gate, with the bad RNG and a couple of misses on Amethyst's side.
But the RNG definitely has the ability to turn the favor back in Amethyst's court, as it were, because there are certain items that you can get that can allow you to do a boss much faster than you would in just playing it normally.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of race left. This is not going to be a big setback for Amethyst. There's plenty of opportunity to come back. So we're going to do shout-outs to Risky Boots, who crafted a bathtub that Shantae doesn't own, but still fell for the trap, and is now taking her to find out why her men are being kidnapped by her uncle. I don't know how strong Risky is, but the fact that she moved a cast iron tub that was full of water plus Shantae's weight all the way to Mimic's workshop, I think she lifts.
Yeah, it also makes you wonder why no one in the town saw that her pushing the bathtub.
Yeah, it could have been very covert, I would imagine.
Yeah, but as you saw, Rogue defeating the first Cacklebat of the game, and the only one that we will actually kill, as we do not do the true ending in this run. So they do not need to collect all the dark magic.
Yeah, the alternative category to this would be all dark magic, where you would actually spend the time collecting killing the bats and collecting all the dark magic, which leads to a good ending for the game. Obviously, in any percent, we're going to skip those. That one is just mandatory by story. And speaking of mandatory by story, RougeLink is doing a save there, which the game requires. That will not let you exit the town without doing that save. It only happened in 2 of the games, Risky's Revenge, the one before this, and this current one. All other Shantaes have not required that.
Yep. So now you'll notice that Rogue is opting to hit a bunch of these scarecrows on the way. Now, hitting an enemy while you're doing the risky charge does slow down time a little bit, and it wastes like a second or two. But it's important for runners to get these scarecrows because they are able to drop some very useful items such as monster milk, super pike balls, even though that's rare. But even the off chance food item, you see Amethyst gain a pike ball just then, and the monster milk.
Ooh, wow, that's good.
He got some pretty good RNG there. That'll help him catch up a little bit.
Yeah, even though the time loss for pausing for hitting the enemies until you build up a real good set of steam, and obviously each strike is a little bit more damage, the gain of time or the ability to save time with the items that you get, it definitely outweighs that. So always worth taking the chance.
And you saw Amethyst also get a bento box as a food item, which will allow him to do some pickup item skips.
Yep, agreed. And what you just saw there in that really tight space with the snakes that he was doing was going for what we call an item duplication. In a very small space like that with the snakes, when you kill them, they have a lingering hitbox. So you're able to hit it up to 3 times when you do a saber bounce on it. And each time you hit that lingering hitbox, it generates the roll to drop an item, which is a 50% chance to drop a flesh pop. You need 3 to pass Bolo, so Bolo is kind of a gate there, and without that you would have to farm up more within the sewers to be able to move forward. But I think Amethyst and Rogue both got decent RNG. They got past Bolo's gate, no problem. And there's entering the palace to grab the first island map they'll require to move forward, and we'll be on their way back to Scuttletown.
Yep, RougeLink is now on his way as we speak, and that map will allow us to go, as you said, to the first island, Saliva Island, which is where the real fun begins, because this is where we'll go to our first dungeon and fight our first boss.
Yep, correct. It looks like Rogue actually got a pike ball and is now using that to hit those orcs. A straight charge into the orcs would not kill him, but the pike ball deals an additional 5 points of damage, and the way it cycles hits them and allows you to kill them in one shot. So he's hoping for an additional 15 gems, or maybe even a rare drop like a pirate flare or a bento box from them. It didn't look like he got much other than a couple of gems out of it, but that was kind of the purpose of using that. If you didn't get the pike ball or didn't have a spare one to do that, you would just normally jump over those orcs and only worry about running into the scarecrows for the hopes of some good RNG.
Now, I'm looking at Amethyst's money, and I realized that he does not have enough money to buy a super pike ball in this shopping trip.
Yeah, he's really low. I'm actually shocked about the 25. Because he's got to buy 3 flares and a super pike ball. The super pike ball is 40, 3 flares is 60. I think he's 5 gems short.
Yeah, I don't think, which that will cause.
Yep.
Oh
nope, he had just enough. Okay, my
math got just enough. All right.
Math, not even once. Tell you what.
Yeah. Well, if he had not been able to buy that super pike ball, that would have been a bit of a. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would come back to haunt him in the second boss, the Emperor Spider, because we use the super pike ball to get a quick kill, as it were, on her.
Yeah, it's the item of choice when dealing with a spider. Over on RougeLink's screen there, he did get a nice bubble shield drop from the mermaid as he was going through that cliff on his way up to get the ham stink here. So he's progressing through the island here. Run into those 2 girls who are coming to bathe in the hot springs, but the hot springs are a little dry. They brought ham, and fortunately for us, there's a Gigalumix way up here that loves the smell of ham. And he's doing that pausing on purpose in this case. It was found kind of by accident that doing 3 pauses will cause an opening blinking segment, saving you a few seconds by doing that. So in pausing, you actually save time rather than lose time, but it's the only instance of that.
And now Shantae is now bathing in saliva, and doing that causes her to absorb the saliva's magical powers and grant her the petrify spell. Neither of those runners went for the sniff skip though.
Yeah, neither one were even close for that. It's a really difficult trick. I'm not gonna lie. I think you lose more time failing it than you gain in some cases, but hopefully we'll get to see that at some point in the tournament. I know I went for it earlier. I missed it by about 2 pixels.
Yeah, you and Turkey both were just right on the edge.
Yeah. All right, so we bring this petrify spell to this old man who's pining over his fiance, and we're not exactly sure why he thinks using a petrify spell was the solution to his problem, but well, we'll just say that they are now together.
But this is a rated E10 game, so they're not dead.
Oh, no, definitely not. That pile of rubble right there was there before they fell, I promise.
Definitely. So this dungeon that you see RougeLink going into is it's a secret dungeon. It's not normally a part of the casual playthrough. It's an Easter egg that pays homage to the first Shantae game. In fact, its layout is very similar to the first dungeon. The reason we're going into this is to gather some of those keys that we mentioned beforehand. We need to stockpile some keys for a very specific instance in Canline Temple. And doing this is just a quick way to gather up some extra keys without having to go too far into a dungeon.
Yeah, and the extra money too is always good.
Oh yeah, that too. And throughout the playthrough, I believe you have the chance to get somewhere around 11 keys. And you are able to skip 2 keys without taking much damage. And Rogue's dead, but that's okay because that's part of that navigating that dungeon, because it sends them right back to the beginning.
Yeah, you could complete that, and at the end is a very rewarding auto potion if you go all the way through, but it takes more time to do that than just to take the death warp and go back to the entrance so that you can proceed on through the rest of the dungeon. Alright, going to see how the movement tech here is. There's some couple of different philosophies on what's the faster way of doing it. Tried to go for the perfect timing strat, didn't quite work, fell through that cage, which doesn't let you stand on it until it stops moving, and you really want to try to hit it on the exact frame that happens so that you don't fall through. Doesn't look like he has a monster milk, so he'll be doing this pretty standard wet man room here.
So you may be wondering why we do the pogo stick instead of the cannonballs. It's simply because the pogo stick hits both of these lobster guys, while the cannonball only hits one. So Rogue is now heading up to what will be the first boss monster room. And don't blink because you might miss the first stage of this boss.
Yeah, it goes extremely fast. Let's see if he executes it well.
Looks like did it perfectly. Exactly how it's supposed to do.
Yep, that's it. And I'm actually really curious why Amethyst opted not to use the monster milk that I know he's got so far in the run for this. Would have helped him catch up some real time, so...
Yeah, my guess would be he might be worried about some later on boss that maybe he has trouble with and wants to make sure that he has a monster milk for that.
Yeah, very valid. I think that, you know, depending on confidence level with the later bosses, which obviously are much more damaging, having the milk there would certainly feel a little bit safer. All right, good fight by RougeLink. He's past the Cyclops plant. Amethyst nailing that first phase as well. We'll see how the rest of the fight goes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, this strat is very satisfying to pull off. I will say.
Uh-oh, having a little trouble there. Missed on one cycle and then got knocked over. But shouldn't have too much more trouble finishing it off from here. Yep, there we go.
Falcon, it's not too tough of a strat to execute, especially not on stage 1, but it mostly is just it's mostly just practice and knowing where its hitbox is so that you don't get hit and then fall to the ground.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the fact that you just hold the scimitar in place, and it is just more the timing of getting pinned up in the ceiling between it and the ceiling. It really deals out the damage. It just, again, takes practice, and it's really easy once you get the hang of it. All right, no heart squids of shame, fortunately, there.
Man.
So maybe we'll see one somewhere in this tournament. But... All right, RougeLink's now in the next island, Spiderweb Island. It's our second destination. He's taking a pit stop there to get the fossil early, which normally in a normal playthrough you'd get much later. This will just save a little bit of time later in the run, and he's heading into every runner's favorite part.
Run, Roddy Top.
That's right. Fortunately, he didn't crawl into that cutscene. If he had, the game would actually lock up entirely. You just see Roddy struggling in the web. There's a shadow of a spider in the background, but then nothing happens.
So the whole deal with Run Roddy Tops is you're not allowed to use any of your items as you are carrying Roddy Tops, as she is pretending to be bitten by the spider, because she's just like that. And basically anything that isn't land or like a bush or something that you jump on. Oh, Rogue getting hit by a gatekeeper.
Yep.
That's not good. But like you said, like you saw, everything that you touch, any enemy you touch is a one-shot kill. However, you will not get a game over. It will just send you back to the beginning of the room. And yeah.
And for all intents and purposes, this is really considered the auto-scroller of the game. One, we've spent exhaustive times as runners trying to figure out how to get around this part. That's how we figured out about the hard lock crawling into the cutscene with Roddy Tops to begin with. But we still haven't found a way. And in the meantime, we get to go through this. You've got a number of different enemies going on. These green pillars are on a global cycle. I'm not exactly sure if it's game time or what that drives it, but they are constantly moving on the global timer. You've got the tongue droppers that Amethyst are facing right now. They trigger by proximity, so as you get closer, that's when they'll activate and drop their tongues. They're trying to skip those as much as possible just to save a little bit of time, like Amethyst is doing right there. Later on in here, we've got some other enemies that are very interesting. We've got robots that want to give you a big hug and a kiss. Got some very interesting ghost snakes that spit little leech ghost snakes at you. And then they've got much more interesting names within the community, I'm not going to lie. And then you've got these gravestones, which we know which ones move, but when they move and which direction they move is RNG, so you have to be ready to dodge them on a moment's notice. But not every single one of them is a threat. You just learn over time exactly which ones are the ones that you need to avoid.
Yeah, you saw on RougeLink's screen, there are, like you said, there are tombstones that pop up at just the wrong time. There are a few that if you try to jump over the first one and keep going, the second one will pop up and then you'll die, and the tombstones are just the best. And as you see now on RougeLink's screen, you see the kissy robots. They just want hugs, man. They just want hugs.
Moni, you were close on the world record. It's actually 50-46 held by TKY619.
The Amethyst not having too many problems with the tombstones.
Nope, and RougeLink doing the proper jumping to just save just a few frames dropping through there. If you were to just run off of there, you bonk into the wall, and you kind of, I won't say slide, but it definitely saves just a couple of frames if you time a jump just right to drop into that hole rather than just run. So, looks like he's well-versed on the movement to get through here.
Here are the Stevens that we have mentioned.
Stevens.
And he's coming up on what we call the Gates of Hell. We'll see if he gets a good cycle here. If it's a good cycle, he'll be able to just run right through it. However, it does not look like it wants to give him a good cycle.
Gates of Hell are closed today, so that adds some extra complexity because you have to watch the Stevens from behind. Again, kind of like the tongue droppers, there's a little bit of a proximity component that triggers them. However, you can sometimes get some really bad RNG with them if one decides to shoot. It puts you in a very interesting position. You can get pincered or have to make a very difficult choice on how you want to proceed and not take a death if you're trying to avoid that. All right, Rogue's in the last room. Yep,
he is on the last room, and this is the longest room, so that means if he dies, he'll have to go all the way back, and that really kills a good minute. Or if you get hit twice, then it's like 2 minutes.
All right,
ooh, that bug.
No hug of death. He got through. Yeah, he's fine. No hug of death. The last two gravestones are probably the biggest threat in that. As you go to get between them to move forward, if they stand up at the same time and then both come in at you, it's very difficult to avoid. I think you've only got a couple of frames to get out of the way and not take a death there, which again sends you back to the beginning of the room and you lose a significant amount of time.
Yes. I've lost many a good time to those bugs. Rogue is now making his way to the next dungeon, but before we gotta do that, we gotta give the squid oil to our good friend over here, who will build this nice carriage, which will allow us to not ever have to go back to Run Run Tops ever again until next run.
Unfortunately, Shantae won't let you do that anyway. Even if you casually wanted to go back in there, she's like, no, thank you.
She's traumatized for life.
All right, both decent Run Run Roddy Top sections. I didn't see too much trouble there. I mean, they weren't exactly perfect, but they weren't bad either. And
very solid, very solid.
Yeah, very solid here. I mean, they were both right around the 20-minute mark, which is pretty good. I mean, optimally you'd like to be sub 20, but 20 minutes with these guys' time in the game, it's very respectable, and I look forward to seeing them improve further. All right, now gives us some Cackle Tower.
Yeah, Cackle Tower. In the out of bounds round, this is my least favorite tower simply because of food float. But in no out of bounds, not going to be much trouble navigating through this. I'm imagining that both runners will probably pick up the 2 keys here.
Yeah, I didn't see either one of them go for the Wetman Room and Spittle Maze, so they'll both be going for the Batgirl here, which I prefer. I think it's the better call because you got a much better drop table from the Batgirl.
Yes, the Batgirl allows you has the ability to drop both a Super Pike Ball and a Super Monster Milk.
Yeah, or the Trolley Pirate Flare, which I get 90% of the time.
But as you see, he deals with it. He gets a Super Pike Ball.
It's a good drop. Good. It's not the one you would ideally like. I think you'd rather have the Super Monster Muck at this point, but Super Pike Ball you would not sneeze at.
Definitely not. So that now with that being done, he's going to make his way upward to Infinity and Beyond, which Infinity Beyond looks a lot like a giant spider in this game.
I always called Infinity and Beyond. The actual food floats in the out of bounds variant of this. All right, let's see what Amethyst gets from our Lady Batgirl over here. Both runners had a Pike Ball. That makes this fight a little bit easier to manage. She can be pretty punishing, though. Yeah, he's taking quite a few hits, and you eat that Pike Ball, it's 3 points of damage. And I'm going to point out now, notice the runners have 2 hearts. Each of those hearts is 4 hit points, so you get 8 hit points throughout the entire run. Generally, you're probably going to see a lot of 2-heart runs in this tournament. A lot of people are very familiar with the game, very well versed in it, and well practiced, and they can get through this, but it can be very scary to start taking some of these bigger points of damage, and this game only gets a little bit more hairy as you go further along in regards to the damage being output.
Yes, the final boss, Pirate Master, has the ability to just one-shot you, which makes the bubble shield very important, which I believe one of our runners has. I forget who, though.
It looks like Rogue is using a Monster Milk on this fight, so Spider is probably going to go down pretty quick.
Yeah, not necessarily using the quick kill strategy, though.
Not 100%. Have a little trouble getting stuck in the hitbox there. So, ideally, we call it playing chicken. We like to get right in Emperor Spider's face and use a stun lock technique where if you whip in the air and you take damage at about the same time, like within a frame, you're able to actually stay in that position and jump again. It actually recharges the cannon shots. You're able to actually jump just a little bit. So you try to stay in that hitbox, let the Pike Ball really do the legwork, or like the heaviest part of the load there, and take that down. That was a little bit of a rough fight, but didn't lose his auto potion. So I think we're okay.
Yeah, Amethyst also
just starting up.
Yeah, also opting to use the Monster Milk for this fight. Playing chicken as well. Not really looking to try. Oh, he's trying there, but not really succeeding and getting in the hitbox as well. Doing some good damage
in time, but he's doing some really good damage here. I mean, the Pike Ball is doing the majority. I'd like to see a few more of those hair strikes get in, but that was a pretty solid fight.
Yeah, and again, not having to use the auto potion there.
Yep. Both runners have that little extra safety net. Ideally, you'd like to keep that throughout the entire run, where you could use a little bit of damage tanking on the Pirate Master at the end of the game with that auto potion, but it's a good safety net to have. RougeLink just got himself another bubble shield. I think that has my count at 2 for him, so
yeah,
he has the potential to use that on a later boss, should he choose to do so.
I don't think either of our runners have taken a save yet, though, right?
I have not seen a save yet. No, I think both runners have gone all out at this point. I have not noticed anyone take any save other than the mandatory one.
So if you're wondering why it's a big deal if they take a save or not, it's because this game does not have auto saves at any point. The only save that these runners are taking at this point would be the manual save, which means if they were to die, they would have to end up going all the way back to the beginning, which would pretty much be a GG at this point.
Yeah, with the auto potion, it's not quite as dangerous, but you really don't want to lose that if you can avoid it. And Amethyst got himself a bubble shield, so that's one component that's really going to help on the final boss. And then RougeLink right now is doing his revisit to Saliva Island. We're now doing a bit of a fetch quest after running into Squid Baron at Tanline Island. He gives us the X-ray specs. And what really needs to happen is we got to figure out how to proceed. There's a door there that has a code and a combination on it. We've got to figure out what that code is. So we've got to go back and revisit and find these sarcophagi that RougeLink just came across to obtain these mummy sketches, and the X-ray specs are the item needed to do that. So we're just going back to collect these items so that we can actually move the run forward. Still not a big gap between these two. There's only about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes from each other. So this is still could definitely be anybody's race.
Yeah, Steel Maggot can definitely cleanse this gap between them.
Squid Baron could do it too.
Squid Baron, that is true. Squid Baron can be a little bit of an annoyance here and there. So now RougeLink has effectively killed Joe. Which means that he gets the second mummy sketch.
Well, knowing Amethyst being the big Sky fan that he is, he's happy to see Joe pass away. All right, so Rogue doing the next shopping trip. This one is basically stocking up on pirate flares for the remainder of the run. Generally, we buy 5. If you got any drops, very lucky drops between the beginning of the game and that point, you could reduce the amount that you purchase there, or you could skip getting one later. But these flares get us off islands really quick, so they're very necessary in order to quickly get through this game. And he's going to be on his way to go get Branson's sword, so we'll see what his RNG is here.
Yeah, these skeletons have a chance to drop a super pike ball, as well as just a normal pike ball as you see him getting mostly. But because there's so many of them, there's usually a pretty good chance that you got to get a super pike ball.
Yeah, even though the percentage chance is low, the amount of monsters kind of evens it out. But I didn't see any supers on the first run.
I didn't either.
Looks like he got one right at the very end. Well, he's probably not too happy with that, to be honest. I mean, only one is going to make things interesting. So at this point, as a runner of this game, you've got to make a choice. Do you start collecting gems for a third shopping trip to get the items you'll need for late game bosses, or do you YOLO it and hope that RNG will suddenly swing back in your favor? So it'll be interesting to see what Rogue opts for as we check out Amethyst going through his change. I think I saw one super in there.
Yeah, I might have seen that as well. Rogue, however, now entering Tanline Temple. My favorite area of the whole game.
Metal Gear Shantae.
Metal Gear Shantae. So the deal of this is that Shantae is going to get captured by these guys who think that she's their princess. And what she's going to do is sneak around without getting caught, because if she gets caught, she's going to get sent to the very beginning. And that's no bueno for a speedrunner.
Yeah, it's a very punishing one, especially in the final room, which can cost you up to about 45 seconds, depending on how quickly you are able to navigate your way back there. Though I've lost many a run here trying to do one cycle guard room.
Yep. Looks like he did. That room was pretty clean.
Yeah, it was very safe, but that one cycle is extremely difficult. The window for it is only like that.
He just barely got in that fast movement on that one screen.
Rogue not opting for the extra gems that are above this key, so it looks like he's gonna try to rely on some RNG here.
We'll see how that works out for him. I'd say that he still would have chance to, if he wanted to revert back and go for a third shopping spree. I think there would be a chance. But
Rogue only doing half the one cycle guard room there. He did the first part, skipping by that jump to get into the shadows before the guard could actually locate him, because their sight is on a plane, and it's also limited in distance to a certain extent. He did wait though for the bottom one, so he did not chance the jump over the final guard to get to the door, which is not a bad play, especially in a race.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
so
no, Amethyst just got caught at the.
Oh no!
Oh.
Oof. That's gonna hurt his time a lot.
Yeah, that's probably a good 30 seconds at least there, just by that one.
And you see RougeLink using up basically all of his keys to release these girls who have also been captured, because for some reason they all decided to follow Shantae.
Yeah, the keys that we farmed up earlier by going into the retro dungeon, this is where they're utilized. It's very time consuming to go through this as intended to get the actual keys you need to free all the women, but bringing those keys in from the retro dungeon just saves you a ton of time.
And now we'll be able to see the real princess, and there she is, and we'll get a golden pickaxe for it, which will allow us to continue on to Squid Baron's dungeon.
Amethyst opting to take this last guard room very safe. I don't blame him.
Yeah,
After being
I don't
caught
either.
once, I would do the same, I think.
So the interesting part about the road leading up to Squid Baron's dungeon is that there's a chance where you can go farm some items if you so wish, because you see those scorpion gals, they will drop either they have the chance to drop either a super monster milk or a super pike ball. So if you're low on one of those, runners will sometimes opt to quickly kill one of them and then move on with their life, like Rogue is looking to do.
Yep.
And he got something for it, so.
Super monster milk, it's not a bad drop. I think that's all he wanted, though. Looks like he's going to carry on. Sometimes you could just go back and forth. That scorpion gal does respawn immediately, so you could just leave the screen, come back in, and hit her again. He's going to grab these gems here, so he is looking to get a little bit of extra money. I think he still wants to supplement his RNG. So I expect to see a third shop in his near future.
Yeah, it looks like that's what he's doing. Having a little bit of trouble with the risky shuffle there, but...
Yeah, he bonked a little bit. If you do run into something while you're trying to do that... Ooh, good drop there.
Ooh.
That'll help him quite a bit.
Yeah, this room can be a little bit of a challenge to navigate, because of all the enemies there. But it seems like not too big of an issue. So dash through those little buggers there.
Yeah, Sangre, this is the any percent. Oh, sorry. I was just answering your question in chat, but yeah, this is the any percent route. We will not be going after the cackle bats, so this is obviously the bad ending that we'll be going for in this one. Monster milk and a pike ball. That's pretty good, actually. The Scorpio is being kind of RougeLink.
He's getting some really good RNG drops.
Yeah,
he's very well stocked up. Bonks on that though.
Yeah, tried to set up for the one cycle crusher room, and the timing was a little bit off. Bonks will now take this safe and get out of there without getting squished and being sent back to the beginning of the room.
Meanwhile, Amethyst now on the road to Squid Baron. I wonder if we'll see either of these go for the new strat with Squid Baron.
Yeah, we'll see if the Esco strat gets put into play. I'm not going to anticipate it from either of these runners. It is kind of risky. Unfortunately, it kind of bit me a little bit earlier in my race today, but it can sometimes be fun to go for. I kind of like the symmetry of it and the way that it operates.
I enjoy doing it. I think it's a pretty fun thing. But yeah, Rogue opting for the more safe route.
And takes out the first phase, so now we get Armored Squid Baron 2.0. Well, never mind the armor.
Armor is going to get enough damage to get into the food, which means that he will kill this guy very quickly. There it is.
Go. So he took some intentional damage there, but he was almost dead, so no big loss. You get refilled after you complete a dungeon and beat a boss. Oh, was that 2 monster milks on the way down for Amethyst?
Amethyst had to use his auto potion.
Oh, he lost his auto potion. I saw
so now having a little bit of trouble with these bugs.
Yeah, now the cactus are going to give him a little business as well.
I actually managed to dodge that damage using the risky shuffle. That was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, the one thing he's got to avoid here is not eating that scythe from the killer mantis that's 4 points of damage. That's 1 full heart if you eat that scythe, so you definitely don't want to do that. The Scorpions will do 3 points of damage if you just bump into them, so this is where the run starts to get a little bit crazy from a damage perspective and not doing that. So loss of the auto potion is a little painful for Amethyst, but we'll see how he adjusts to it.
Oh, he didn't bounce, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, good call. That wasn't going to make it on the 1 cycle. I was a little late on the charge, so safely dropping into that hole to not take the damage and lose a little bit more time.
Definitely that smart thinking coming in there.
Yeah, it's just coming with the experience. So Rogue did a quick pit stop back over to town. I didn't see what he purchased. I think he went into the shop. But his main reason for going there was to pick up this death mask. So the fossil we got back earlier needed to be identified because there's a guy blocking your path here, and without that, you're not able to proceed. And now we go into the casual player's nightmare place of Mudbog Island.
Yes, this is definitely one that anyone who's played this game will remember because you've most likely died a lot here because you can see on the screen that there are just so many enemies. Which means if you stop at any point, you're going to have a hard time gaining your speed back, and you will take a huge chunk of damage, possibly even die.
Yeah, you get swarmed really quickly here, but the pirate gear kind of trivializes it as long as you do everything rhythmically. There's actually a pattern to it. There's no RNG, but there is a ceiling, so you can't just fly over the level. You'll bonk into that, you'll slow down, and you'll get swarmed really fast. RougeLink didn't look like he had too much trouble there. I think I saw him slow down just 1 spot, but it didn't cause him any grief. He was able to move forward.
Yep. Rogue is now looking to go collect some coins for this lovely RNG minigame that WayForward is making us do. Basically what's going to happen is we're going to collect 3 coins, a red, a green, and a blue, which he has now. And we're going to give it to the 3 gamers who will then make us guess whether they flip heads or tails. And the fun thing about this is that there's no way to actually know whether it will land on heads or tails.
Yeah,
so we're just going to guess
heads. 50-50. Yeah, menuing takes time, so we just opt for heads. And if it doesn't work out in your favor, there's that beautiful fail-safe that was programmed in by WayForward, where after you lose 3 times, you're guaranteed to win. So Rogue is doing that. Amethyst just completing his revisit back to Scuttletown, did a little shopping as well. I didn't see if he repurchased an auto potion, so I have to watch his menu next time he goes into it.
I don't believe he did.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That's really a difficult pill to swallow when it's 50 gems and the money management is already tight to begin with, depending on what items you've gotten from an RNG perspective.
RougeLink is now heading back to the main room of the Shantae underworld, and he's grabbing some coins as well, which means he's definitely going for a 3rd shop.
I'd say 4th one. I think he went in there when he was in there, so he's actually potentially toying with a 4th shop here.
It's interesting, but I mean, if he needs some items, he's got to get it somehow.
Yeah, if you're not getting what you like, I mean, there's opportunity to do it. It's just obviously each shop costs you between 10 and 15 seconds, depending, one, on how fast your menu... Ooh, that troll by the red gamer.
Rogue got the heads, tails.
Not again. Oh my god, again!
Oh, no!
This is, potentially the absolute worst RNG. Okay, Green Gamer at least said tails, but that's the 2nd worst thing that can happen during this segment. Oh, wow.
That's just rude.
Gamers being a royal troll to RougeLink.
This is not nice.
Yeah, Amethyst has a chance to make up a little bit of ground if the RNG's a little kinder to him, so...
Shantae now has the Hopeful Flame, which means that we can get the Manly Musk, my favorite item in the game, just because Manly Musk.
I'm going to ask you a question. Who do you speculate this Shadow guy is?
That's a real good question. I think I have to agree with a lot of people and say this is probably Shantae's dad.
Yeah, I'm in that camp as well. I believe that is Shantae's father. He died probably during the Big Genie War, which is alluded to throughout the story here, and potentially could be, but apparently he smells like a mutant buffalo if you believe what the dungeon just would have told. had we seen the text.
Yeah, if you're wondering why a dungeon has a nose, that's a really good question. I don't know the answer.
Is that you're not allowed in if you smell all girly and flowery, so...
Yeah.
Oh, another... Oh, was that another... Oh, I think he used the monster milk as a healing item on Amethyst's side.
Hmm.
It's not a bad call. I mean, it gives you 2 hearts of health.
Yeah, I mean, he gave it a lot towards the beginning of the game, so if he has an extra one, why not? Why not use it to make sure you don't die?
Yeah, it's pretty scary. I mean, the ghosts do 2 points of damage, the Nagas do 4 points of damage. If you're really worried about your ability to avoid taking more damage, then it's not a bad call. And gamers now starting to troll a little bit. Green gamers being the roadblock this time, though.
Meanwhile, on Rogue's screen, he is now at Dagron, who can be a little bit, he can get out of hand at times. He's not too relatively tough boss, but if you get hit by him, it's kind of one of those domino effects where everything just starts to go wrong.
Yeah, as he takes more damage, he goes a lot faster, and if you take a hit, you're likely going to take another one right afterwards, and that's between 2 to 3 points of damage, depending on which part of him hits you. So
RougeLink, however, dealing with it very well.
Yeah, it was a really decent fight, and I apologize, I was commenting on the coin game, but the risky shuffle, you see how it trivialized that dungeon. There's that dungeon goes on for a while and a big loop around where you normally pick up the boots, and then you have to solve a complicated elevator puzzle to get lined up to be able to use it. But the risky shuffle allows us to immediately skip like 90% of the dungeon, takes you right to the boss, and then you can just move right on. So,
one of the great things about pirate mode.
Yes, yeah, it's one of the more fun things. I regret having spent so many years grinding away 100% normal speed runs, because I've had a lot of fun actually getting into the pirate mode. Okay, RougeLink avoiding the invisible wall in that room, charging the risky shuffle but not activating it until the screen transitions, so saves a little bit of time. Actually, quite a bit when you think about it.
Yes. Definitely.
Amethyst going for those gems there. Looks like he's banking for an extra shopping trip too.
Yep. Yeah, I never really understood the elevator puzzle when I was playing it casually. I just kind of kept hitting buttons.
It's interesting. Like you have to go around quite a bit in order to get everything, but to get it to line up, it's actually so much easier than you imagine if you pay attention to the live ball switches.
Yeah. So RougeLink now on Frostbite Island, the last really true island. There's one more island, but it's very small. It's only 2 rooms, and you don't really do anything on it. With this though, this is again where enemies will really start to hit hard. These ice wolves that you see, they can do 6 damage, I believe, and that's a really dangerous situation. However, you'll see them maybe purposely hitting some of them, killing them, because they do have the chance to drop a super pipe ball or a super monster milk.
Yeah, but that's like 1%. I mean, you have to be in a real dire situation to try to bank on it. I mean, it certainly can work out in your favor if you go for it, but the biggest danger here, obviously, again, other than the wolves taking 6 points of damage, is those ice slopes. Because one misstep, you slide down to it, next thing you know, you've got a wolf right in your face. And that's a heart and a half off of their health meter, so you definitely want to avoid that wherever possible, but with careful movement and making sure that you're not hitting any of the notorious corners this game has to offer, then you should get through no problem like Rogue did, and he's on his way through Propeller Town now.
So, Propeller Town, at this point, the game expects you and knows that you're going to have everything except the cannonball. So, there's not going to be too many abusing going on here, but just enough to keep it interesting, because it does not expect you to have a cannonball. It means that we can skip just a few things here and there.
Yeah, it just simplifies it quite a bit, having the cannon earlier than taking the intended route. What they want you to do is use the hat and take those upflows, which is slower, but cannon helps you ascend those a lot quicker. And Amethyst has gotten past Dagron. Didn't think his fight went too terribly either. So
nope. Both
he's
solid.
Still right on. Yeah, he's still right on RougeLink's heels. I mean, probably a good 3 minutes separate him right now. Again, the great equalizer of Steel Maggot potentially. could still write things, and then there's still the tower climb, which is a very complicated bit. So we'll see how this plays out, but we're getting close.
Yeah, and but the icing on the cake will be Pirate Master's one shot, because you could have the best run of your life, but if you get one shot by Pirate Master, there's no saving.
The good news is they both have bubbles. They should be very safe for the projectile attacks, which bubble shields save you from. It just negates them entirely. The only thing will be the contact damage, which fortunately Pirate Master only hits you for 4 points of damage in a contact shot. So it's not as dangerous as his more advanced form from the good ending.
True. If I were them, I would consider saving right before Pirate Master, because there is a save option. And I know these two are still relatively new, so it's easy for them to kind of maybe sometimes make a mistake at Pirate Master here and there, and you don't want to be right at the end and lose it, especially not in a tournament.
No, definitely not. I expect to potentially see some saves coming into play, probably right before the boss fight, just in case the worst scenario happens. Okay, Amethyst did not skip the invisible wall in that room, so we'll take a little bit of a slowdown there. But still navigating very fine. I haven't seen any movement mistakes on getting through this. Taking a slightly slower route by doing the up drifts, but nothing too bad. He did expend all of that, but the chain will recharge his cannon up, and he'll go to that long horizontal room for a nice easy glide on over to the other side of the city.
So RougeLink opted to buy 3 potions in that shop area, which means that he's planning on doing those item grab skips we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I don't know that we've seen one in this run yet. So
we have. Amethyst has done a few.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch him. I apologize.
No, it's fine. I mean, he's very sneaky about it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's planning on either doing a few of those drop skips, or even potentially just having it for health boost.
RougeLink failing the most important trick of the game, Nutbuster, unfortunately.
Tisk tisk.
Run is not valid, I'm afraid.
No, that's an axe on the run. We'll see if Amethyst
I didn't see mistake jumps in Run Roddy Tops either. This run is like but he gets the void entry. Walking into the wall. Hope Shantae does not need doors. She can just walk through walls.
Very stylish. Oh, hey, and Joe's alive again.
Yep, but it immediately breaks up with our best friend. Kind of awkward.
Yeah. I mean, does anyone really like Sky besides Amethyst?
You know, I used to be Camp Sky, but then I found a new waifu of the game.
Is it Roddy Tops?
Oh, definitely not.
No.
No, I'm all about Bathhouse Lady. You never see her in speedruns. She's perfect. Well, you do in Half Genie Hero. There's a little bit of a fallacy there, but yeah.
So we'll see. RougeLink now going into the Steel Maggot dungeon.
Yep, he's on his way there. The cannon shot that was intended to hit the palace missed by quite a bit, and has opened this hole here. I think Rogue was worried about a potential game crash there. In the PC version, there's potential to have a crash there. I saw the pause. I'm not sure if that's what that was, or if he just kind of let go a little early. There's one of the animation skips for collecting, using a food item or a potion. When you collect an item, you can overwrite it with the animation there, and it saves a few seconds per. So as many times you can do that throughout a run. Definitely look to save a considerable amount of time, considering how many items you're collecting in the run. So
definitely. So this is another area where we'll have to gather a few keys here and there, specifically for this room that Rogue is in now. There's 3 key doors in this room that you need to open. Luckily, they give you 1, so that makes our job a little bit easier.
Oh, a little early on that potion there. He's going to get the key animation grab as well.
Oof. Luckily, he can afford it.
Yeah, he's got a decent lead as long as Steel Maggot isn't too bad here. And he'll be entering that fight now as Amethyst is completing his sequence in Scuttletown and getting ready to revive Joe and open up the abandoned factory.
So the whole deal with Steel Maggot.
Oh,
Wow, that was lucky.
That was super lucky. So yeah, go ahead and explain.
Basically, you see the 3 buttons on its back. You have to hit the Steel Maggot in a certain order. Those buttons in a certain order. And you may be wondering, well, how do we know what the order is? And the answer is we don't. It's completely RNG. However, speedrunners will choose to take and hit certain buttons or try certain patterns just because you feel like that's the one.
Yeah,
RougeLink doing very good though.
Got lucky there. The same code both times and gets the 2 cycle, or at least the 2 cycle of the exposed actual weak point of the boss. So not a bad fight. It actually worked out really well for him, and it was near sub 50, which is really good pace for him right now. So.
Definitely. Yep, means that he is now moving on to Pirate Master. Which we'll see. I think the ball is pretty well in his court at this point, but you know, it's not over till the Pirate Master thing.
Yeah, or it says ho ho ho, he, as he tends to do a lot.
Going now to the Lonely Grave.
Yep. This is all just story exposition, so not a lot of fun here. Amethyst currently navigating his way through the abandoned factory, going up to grab his 2nd key. He needed to get through that long room.
He does have
up for an animation skip. Yeah, he's got some fruit items. No, unfortunately, Esco Rogue does not have an extra flare, so we will not be saving the inversely exponential amount of time that you prefer.
So now, if you'll notice that Skeleton is all dark and spooky, and that's because Pirate Master has now taken over, and everything's not so happy anymore in this town.
Yep, things have gotten dark. You can't really see what's going on, but you can tell by the silhouettes. Basically, Mudbug Island has come to take over. I see a lot of muckmen in there. God, that pike ball drop at the end. Not that that matters at this point, but
yeah,
interesting RNG to get that.
Amethyst having a little bit less good RNG when it comes to the Steel Maggot, but
he's got the 1, 2, 3 pattern. It just took a minute to get there, but
yeah,
a little low on items. A regular pike ball and no monster milk for this fight. This is going to drag on a bit.
Yeah.
This is probably the one boss in the entire run you do not want to take on without at least a monster milk in play. He's got a lot of hit points. In fact, I think I've got that here somewhere. Oh, I don't have it up right now, but I want to say it's in the neighborhood of about 2,000 hit points, and you're only doing 5 per strike. So, yeah, this fight, unfortunately for Amethyst, is going to take a while. So hopefully he can at least keep doing what he's doing, avoid the damage, not take a death here. And as I recall, I don't think anyone has taken a single safety save yet. So
correct.
As Rogue did the very complicated, or I say complicated, it's actually precise tower climb, and literally it's basically pixel perfect movement where you use the hat and cannons at the most apex point of each jump. Will allow you to skip some very nasty rooms there that the game really wants you to go through.
Rogue not opting for a safety save there.
No, so. But I saw he still has his auto potions, so
he does. All right, so this should be a relatively simple fight for him. Pirate Master, not kind of a pushover in my opinion compared to some of the other bosses.
Yeah, he really is nowhere near as threat as like a Dagron, really, as long as you understand his movement, pay attention to what it is, not tank too much damage from him, which Rogue is doing a really good job at.
Yes.
He might be losing out a little bit of damage opportunity here, but he should be knocking him out here pretty shortly, although these lasers, if he doesn't... Okay,
and he does it.
All right, so Rogue finishes with official SRL time of 53:38. So GG on Rogue.
Apparently, that's a PB for him too.
That looks like a PB. I know he was on the cusp. I think it was a 54:01 before this run. So
very
GG
well
on him for the big PB as well.
Very well done. Meanwhile, back on Amethyst's side.
Yeah, it looks like he just finished up with the Steel Maggot, so will now be working his way towards the final boss. And Rogue looks like he's definitely chomping at the bit to potentially get a little bit of an interview here. We'll let the credits play out really quick before we bring him in. He'll let
these
him
credits are
wind
very
down
important.
a second. Yeah. Yeah, I have to check that in-game time, even though it's completely way off base, but you know.
We don't worry about that.
No, of course not.
So, Nori, what is your favorite song in this Shantae?
My favorite song in this particular Shantae is actually the music that plays as you're going through the Village of Lost Souls. Not the part with the gamers, not the part with the gamers, but the music around it. I spend a lot of time there in 100% normal runs because we do a gem grind, and that song I got to hear a lot of it, having to get up to 999 gems. And it grows on you, and I have to admit, I think it's the one that kept me moving through those grind fests. So that would be my favorite, but my absolute favorite is the one we don't get to hear in this run, which is the true Pirate Master battle theme.
I remember that one. That one's pretty jamming.
That one is by far probably my favorite song, probably across the entire Shantae series. All right, so Amethyst is about to start his tower climb. If you don't mind, Cabbage, I'll pull Rogue in for
Go ahead.
decompress. Hey, Rogue.
Hello. Hey.
Congrats on that PB, man. Awesome run.
So I hope this doesn't mean I have to PB every time.
No, it's absolutely.
You're setting a precedence. So
yeah, you have to now. It's a rule.
Oh no. That run was crazy.
Yeah, you got some really good RNG. I was a little surprised at some of the gem pickups, but I think you did one extra shot more than I had anticipated throughout the course of that run. So I don't know if you could explain what your thought process there was.
Yeah, so just generally speaking, I don't try to cut out the shop because I'm paranoid.
Right.
I probably could have there because I got pretty lucky. Some of those extra gems were just in case for like if I died to Dagron or something. But yeah, that's just my usual route. But yeah, it worked. It worked out. The fact that I was 3 gems short of a conditioner upgrade was kind of annoying.
Oh, you were actually going to go for a hair upgrade. That would have been interesting.
Well, it's a if I have the extra money, it's a good thing to use it for. So if you get like 1 or 2 extra things for safety, you can get the potion if you need it, or you can get a hair upgrade. But I was just short, so.
All right, Amethyst is currently in the Pirate Master fight, and like me earlier, does not have a monster milk for this fight. So
yeah,
this is going to be interesting. I did not pay attention if he saved, but I think I saw him do it.
Oh, there we go. Oh, sorry.
See what happens here. He's got a good laser pattern, so that's good.
Yeah, it allows for a lot of damage to come in.
He had to sneak in a little closer than he probably would have liked to, but those lasers will one-shot you. It's 8 points of damage. So fortunately, was able to avoid that. Should be able to finish him off here. Very quickly. Come on, don't get into the spinal phase. There it is. GG.
GG.
Whew. Yeah, that's scary with no monster milk. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that fight without monster milk.
Yeah, it's no fun. It's even scarier when you don't have a bubble. I've done that one as well. So Amethyst finishes his run with a 58:04 official SRL time. So GG on that. A little bit of a rough run. Not very good RNG. Had a couple of iffy parts, but made it through. Very solid. So.
How was like Ammo Baron for everyone?
There was a bit of a disparity there. It wasn't huge. I'd only say it was probably a difference of about 10 seconds. Amethyst got pretty trolly. I think it opened up with a 4 charge, in fact. So
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a little brutal on the beginning there, but he was keeping pace very well. I mean, he was pretty behind you. Yeah, right for the most part of the run until some unfortunate RNG left him a little underpowered because both Steel Maggot and Pirate Master were milkless. So,
well, if it's any consolation prize, I got 2 heads, tails in a row. So.
Yep.
Yeah, we were commenting on that. I wanted
and then a head tails.
While we got you here, and I don't see Amethyst lining up for an interview, but what went through your mind when you almost got the triple worst RNG? I mean, it was heads, tails, tails, tails.
So at the second one, I literally was like, so rude.
Yeah, that's no fun to have happen, and we were I think even chat reacted like almost a triple. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever had the triple heads, tails before. I think that might be actually the worst.
Yeah, it's in my 3 years of running this, I've never had heads, tails 3 times in a row. So I'm knocking on wood now because now it's going to happen to me on my next
next tournament race.
Yeah, I'm fine with that because I'm racing you.
Yeah, Cabbage would be looking forward to that. Yeah, it's funny. We're doing commentary today, but next week we're going to be rivals. So
yep, and you're going to kick my butt. That's fine.
Don't count on it. Don't count on that necessarily.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't see Amethyst lining up for an interview. I don't want to keep speed gaming too long, so I don't believe that this channel has anything up next. If I
don't think so.
Dialogue correctly before the race started. But don't worry, everyone. There's going to be more and more Shantae to come over the next few weeks. We're just in the group stages. Today was the first day, a couple of races. We've got some more races for this lined up to come on the coming week as soon as I find my info. That is my regular sheet. I apologize, guys. I thought I had everything right in front of me, and I don't.
I think we've got a race Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to get people scheduled. This is still very early, but the next races, we do have one tomorrow, Goofy versus Terra CHL. That one happens pretty late. Rogue, I have you as the sole commentator for that. No one else has signed up for that at this point.
Yep.
So that'll be tomorrow night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 21st, we have Majati versus Terra CHL, also from the same group. That'll be on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Myself and Turkey will be the commentators there. And then Jangle Storm and Kick Sauce on the 23rd, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And myself and Cabbage later that evening at 8 p.m. Eastern on that Friday. So looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. So
stay tuned for so much Shantae.
Yes, definitely.
You're gonna be sick of it by the time we're done.
All right. Well, I appreciate everyone being here and watching. Thank you, Speed Gaming, as always, for hosting this event. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to having many, many more good races to showcase.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.